any of the three of you this year. My name is Ruth Kraft, and in real life, here I'm an Uber judge of the competition. I've been doing that for 18 years. It is a joy. It's one of the great pleasures of the year that I put onto my calendar a full year in advance. In real life, I was a New York State judge for 14 years. And I've been a lawyer for almost 44 years, which is kind of scary to say. And I was a law professor before I went on the bench. I'm now a senior partner at the firm of Vigorito, Barker, Patterson, Nichols, and Porter, which is a mouthful. We have offices in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Florida, and I chair the employment law practice of the firm. So some of these COVID concerns, for example, whether an employee needs to have a vaccination, I got an email from a client about that literally before I shut off the phone. And then she called me and I said, I have to judge a competition. I'll get back to you at, at 2:00. So I'm going to read you the instructions that are applicable to the 90-second presentation. So in the 90-second presentation, we have one presenter per team focusing solely on the ethical issues. And so the script reads as follows. Imagine that you are an employee of the company whose case you have been studying. You're at a meeting in which people are discussing the issue, but no one has brought up ethics. There's a pause in the conversation. You have 90 seconds in which to convince the other people at the meeting that there are ethical issues that need to be addressed. You don't have to argue for a solution. You just have to need them to see that there are actually serious ethical issues involved. And one member of the team will do this. So this is different from the other two segments, the 20-minute and the 25-minute and the 10-minute, in that you're not a consultant typically speaking to a board of directors. You're an employee member of a team that is discussing a particular case and how to handle it, and you are speaking up on the issue of ethics. Okay? Are you ready? All right, so with my really super duper high-tech device, you can hear it ticking like a time bomb over here. All right, so we are ready for you, Thomas.
Great. Do I just, when I start, you're just going to start the timer when I begin the...
I just started it at 2 minutes, so we're doing fine.
Okay, great. Thank you. So it's been interesting to hear everyone's concerns, but it's also important to address the ethical dimension of this problem. With such a large number of inexperienced users on our trading platform, we should assess whether or not we're acting responsibly by allowing these investors to expose themselves to high levels of financial risk. This is largely a moral problem, given that we profit off of these transactions regardless of the harm it causes to our users. Some investors on our application have lost thousands of dollars, if not more, from inexperienced trades in risky securities. And as a company, our goal is to encourage as many users to join the application as possible. But inexperienced consumers continue to place trades on our platform, thus bringing the ethical principle of fairness into question. Is it fair that we allow inexperienced users to make significant financial decisions without the proper tools to truly understand the risks involved? On one end, we can provide users with little information to prioritize accessibility at the expense of user welfare. And on the other end, we can provide users with advanced levels of information that would maximize user education at the expense of accessibility. A fair solution would be to find a balance between these two extremes. And while we may not be legally obligated to do so, it would foster an environment that would help us to meet our objective to create an accessible platform while also assisting users to meet their financial goals. Essentially, fairness is the solution.
Thank you. Okay, let me shut this off before it dings. And now, Nick, if you could please turn the focus onto Reg. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this the wrong way. Where is my piece of paper here? Yes, it is Raj from UMass Lowell.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Can I start whenever?
Hold on one sec. Let me just reset this high-tech device. Okay. We're ready for you whenever you are.
Good afternoon. I'm Raj Arora, and I'm an employee at the Ethical Advisory Board of Pfizer. There are myriad issues with respect to the COVID-19 vaccine, that are posing tangible harm to underprivileged individuals and our ethical values. Right now, there's a large inequity affecting minorities, underprivileged communities, and others. This is due to a lack of information and simultaneously a large saturation of misinformation that plagues the United States with respect to vaccines and COVID-19. Essentially, those who have the tech literacy and time receive the vaccine, and those who do not simply don't. We at Pfizer have stated on our website and numerous times publicly, we want people, regardless of their race and geography, to be vaccinated. But the priority should be getting it to the people who are contracting COVID at the highest rates and dying from it. It is not ethically defensible for us to enable a system that poses such inequity while stressing the equity publicly. It's an ethical imperative to target and enable people who are facing this inequity. We must advertise and make this information through public media campaigns and grassroots movements so it is equitable for everyone regardless of their backgrounds or conditions. Not only is this the only ethically acceptable solution, it is our ethical duty as an industry leader at Pfizer. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's still ticking. It's not a good thing. I don't know why it's still ticking, but we'll have to throw it out. Okay, and finally, we are up to Matthew from Stetson, and I see something that says Top Hat Consulting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Doing great. You can start now.
There are many factors that play into making the right decision about whether or not to mandate the COVID-19 vaccine for all workers at Darden. But when it's all said and done, we need to ask ourselves, what ought we to do? How will a mandate impact all our stakeholders? Will mandating vaccination really make a difference within our restaurants? Some would argue that to mandate is to promote the greatest good for the greatest number. I would argue that we cannot focus on the many while sacrificing the autonomy and dignity of the few. We have to consider the impact of this decision on all our employees, not just the greatest number. 15% of our own people have sincere and serious reasons for not wanting to take the vaccine. Why not implement educational programs and even financial incentives to encourage all to take the vaccine, while simultaneously protecting the rights of the minority? If we were to mandate, we would have to offer accommodations under the law. That does not address the interest of those who do not want to take the vaccine for other reasons. The more sound ethical position, I believe, is to elevate the autonomy, dignity, and rights of all our employees. We need to give choice in order to promote dignity. Concentrating on ethics has been essential to decisions we've made in the past and will continue to not only be a part of our success story, but also the stories of communities we serve.
Thank you. Okay, let's get rid of that device. And Nick, if you can put us back onto the gallery view. Who is Miguel Alzola? Who just wrote in, great job, everybody.
That would be my advisor.
Congratulations. Okay, congratulations, Fordham. I consider the 90-second, in all honesty, to be the toughest part of this competition. It is so hard, so difficult to narrow an argument down to 90 seconds. And I know that having taught in schools of business administration, you know, that that's a certain skill set, because I'm told by business leaders that if you don't get it across in the first 2 minutes, you know, you're done basically. It so goes against the grain for me as a lawyer to be able to say anything in 90 seconds other than take out the dog or, you know, something like that to discuss an issue of significance. And all three of you chose subject matters, you know, the trading platforms, the ethical obligations of Pfizer in terms of vaccination distribution, and finally vaccine mandates that are very complicated subjects. I knew months ago that we were going to see COVID presentations. I have seen 4 of them in the last 2 days. And I have to say, to everyone's credit, each one of these presentations has been different and has focused on a different issue. Matthew, focusing on a vaccine mandate. in taking the position that you did. It's sort of like being Mr. Justice Scalia in dissent on the Supreme Court. It's not necessarily the most popular position. You advocated very, very well for it. And not on pragmatic terms, I must say, but on terms that involved dignity, integrity, and self-responsibility, frankly. So I think that was a very, very, very commendable presentation. For Raj, the duty to, in terms of a manufacturer, and not just a manufacturer vaccine, but to have a role in the distribution, recognizing socioeconomic inequalities, was also a beautiful, beautiful ethical presentation. Both of these two presentations led with the ethical issue. Now, Tom, I did not look at the executive summaries, and it took me 30 seconds in to figure out what you were talking about. What was this platform? Who are you? What company is this? Is this the NASDAQ? Is this an individual trading platform? How does it work? Once you got into it, however, the notion of fundamental fairness, and welfare, and going beyond the legal obligations to the moral obligations was very, very well presented. I really wish I had seen your full presentation, because it's sort of easy for me to intuit what went on in the other two presentations. But yours, now I'm really intrigued as to what you did yesterday and this morning, because it sounds like a subject well worth considering, and that one that is truly, truly cutting edge. So I think you had the most difficult, frankly, of the three. I think you all did a great job. Let me ask you, because now I'm only seeing one person, maybe that's my failing. Okay, now I can see all of you.